Y'all get ready?
Yes, you get ready.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Hey tea sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. So like I said, all of the political tea has been brewing, especially given this whole TPUSA drama that went down this weekend at this 4-day event. So as we all know, I had did the live stream and we were talking about Ben Shapiro and how he was calling out Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and many more. And so a lot of people are responding now. Candace responded that same day, so we're going to watch more of her response. Other people on TikTok are also responding. Some people are agreeing with Ben Shapiro for calling out Candace Owens. Other people are not agreeing with him. But also Megyn Kelly, Steve Bannon, they have also spoken out and called out Ben Shapiro as well. So we're going to go ahead and watch these responses right now.
Guys, I was so proud of Ben Shapiro's speech tonight at AmFest.
Erica Kirk and TPUSA never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Yes, cowardice. The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense into the public square for years is just as cowardly.
He went all in on Candace Owens. He didn't mince words. He didn't mince names. Well, he did mince one name, but it was still like people knew who he was talking about, because he said, if you have not called out Candace Owens by now, you are basically a coward. And he said some of which are speaking here tonight. And we all know that's Tucker Carlson. We all know that's Megyn Kelly. And so he didn't call out their names, but like he heavily insinuated it. And I'm just so proud of him. And the thing is, like, you already know Candace is going to be narcissistically wounded. And as a matter of fact, she's already now insisting that Ben Shapiro is now complicit in Charlie Kirk's murder. Like, she's already made a tweet about that because she's so narcissistically wounded. But it had to be done. It had to be said. And I'm so glad that Turning Point allowed people to just go all in and not hold back anymore. So I don't know how Erica Kirk's conversation went with Candace, but apparently she, like, all the gloves are off, because she also made a joke about Egyptian planes on it, you know. So I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I've been super busy, but I just wanted to be, see if y'all saw that too.
So this right here is Officer Tatum, a.k.a. Officer Talmud. I've been calling him that for months now because of his close relationship with Israel and defending them with the cape at every chance he gets. So he has a little bit to say about what Ben Shapiro said at Turning Point USA. So we're going to just watch a small snippet of what he has to say.
Ben Shapiro says, which means that he may have called out somebody you like. At least I can respect the fact that Ben Shapiro said what he felt needed to be said. And everybody else had their chance. And some people just didn't do a good job at it. Let's roll some of the highlights from Ben Shapiro's speech. We're going to get to a couple other people's speeches as well, and I'm going to talk about it. Roll the clip.
If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it.
Only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working.
Because she's so shocked that he said that she was a coward for doing it. He told her on her show, on stage, that you can't just not say nothing about what Tucker Carlson. It's no excuse that that's your friend to not disagree with them. As you guys all know, Candace is my friend, but I disagree with her. I call out everything that she said about Turning Point being involved in everything. I disagree with it. I think to me, it is nonsensical to think that Turning Point, with no evidence, has something to do with Charlie's death or covering up his death. I see those guys. I meet those guys. I've been knowing them for years. I think it's nonsensical. The hatred towards Israel and the things that Candace has said about Israel, I disagree with. But she's still my friend.
Here he go. APAC Shakur got on his cape. Da-na-na-na-na-na. APAC Shakur's in the house. APAC Shakur's in the house. Watch your mouth about Israel. Okay? Let's go ahead and finish watching.
Friend. And the same thing with Megyn Kelly. The problem that Ben has with Megyn Kelly, that I also disagree with Megyn Kelly, is that you don't have to say, I don't like Tucker Carlson. You don't have to say that. I don't say that about Candace. But if Tucker Carlson interviews Nick Fuentes and literally sniffs his butt the whole time, you could at least say, I don't like the Tucker Carlson interview with Nick Fuentes. I love Tucker, but I don't like the interview. I don't think it's right. Just like when Candace says things that I disagree with, I don't have to go out of my way to say, Candace Owens said this, Candace Owens said that. I don't need to go out of my way to say that. But I do I have an obligation as a functioning adult with a platform that if she says something I disagree with, and that's not my opinion, then I need to express what my opinions are and what are the things that I disagree with. I don't understand how people don't understand that. If my dad
Well, sir, we don't understand how you said that you would never cry if your daddy died, but then broke down in tears when Charlie Kirk died. I don't understand that.
My wife.
Really?
I just wouldn't.
What if your kid died?
That's a different thing. I mean, I would try not to cry in front of my wife. Everything is going south. I want my wife to know I'm strong in that situation, and I can be. I don't have to cry. So I heard a guy say this, is that when my father passes away, which everybody's parent is going to pass away, I'm not going to cry at his funeral. I don't want to cry at his funeral. I want my father to know that I'm strong enough.
Okay. Wait. You won't cry in front of your wife, but you'll cry in front of millions of people for Charlie Kirk? Nigga, are you okay? That doesn't even make any sense.
How are you not more emotional for your father, okay, than for Charlie Kirk? But let's go. Let's move on. I don't want to hear anything else from Officer Talmud. So now we're going to watch Megyn Kelly's response to what Ben Shapiro said about her right now.
Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement, which shows a willful blindness about his position in it. I resent the whole thing. I object to the whole thing. Ben and I, he had the nerve to call me a friend right before he called me a despicable coward for not calling out the people he once called out. So he both wants to parent me and be my child. He wants to tell me what I have to do and who I have to say what to. And then when I don't, he and some of his friends want to act like utter victims because I won't do what they say. They need me. I have to be their daddy and step in to protect them. And I am not their daddy. And I resent that he thinks he's in a position to decide who must say what to whom and when. Thank you. So I don't think we are friends anymore. The next thing I saw was him attacking me on stage last night as a coward. So that's not friendship, and I think that's fine with me, with friends like that. Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who.
Now, one thing I will say about Megyn, I do like the fact that she addressed him head on stage at Turning Point USA. Tucker, to me, was kind of scary with it. He threw little dog whistles, but he didn't address Ben Shapiro head on. She did. So I do like that, that she did do that and she didn't back down. So funny enough, Steve Bannon was also there. Now his name wasn't mentioned, but Steve Bannon decided to, put himself into the beef. So we're going to hear what Steve Bannon had to say as well.
Now, Benji Shapiro sat up here last night and he was all, it's all about the truth. Ben, I've known you a long time, brother. You can't handle the truth. Let's face it, Ben Shapiro is the farthest thing from MAGA. Let's be blunt. He is a hardcore never Trumper. He's a hardcore never Trumper. In the spring of 16, He tried to upend Breitbart. He walked off the job, made a big deal about some incident in Mar-a-Lago with Corey Lewandowski. He tried to turn it to Ted Cruz from Donald Trump because he hated Donald Trump. In the general election, he barely supported Donald Trump. The first sign of when President Trump gets sent back to Mar-a-Lago, the very first individual that jumped on the Ron DeSantis train, the Israel First train, was Ben Shapiro. And those are the darkest days we had. In 21 and 22, you guys were there. He's consistently been against Trump, and now that President Trump doesn't back the Greater Israel Project. What is Greater Israel? It's not about Israel itself. It's about an expansionist Israel, an imperial Israel that Netanyahu and that crowd have thought up. And the Israel First crowd is Ben Shapiro, Tel Aviv Mark Levin, and many others that want to put that ahead of America's interests. Charlie Kirk fought that. You know where Charlie Kirk fought it? In the White House. I know, because I was there. When I went back, Charlie Kirk was working with Sergio Gore. Now, Ben.
So as you see, the beef that's going on in the right is getting very deep. And a lot of this is behind Israel and other things. But Steve Bannon has made his stance known. So now we're going to listen to bits and pieces of Candace Owens responding back to Ben Shapiro, because a lot of her clips have gone viral since her responding the other day back to what Ben Shapiro said about her on stage.
Shapiro just keeps calling my name out on stage. He's calling for me, and I'd like to show up for him today. Okay, last night he hit the stage at Turning Point USA's AmFest the other night. And I'd like, first and foremost, just to let you all know, some people noticed that he wasn't on the AmFest list for years, and all of a sudden he's back on the speaker list beginning in 2024. I want to let you know how that actually happened. So the story goes, obviously, that in 2024, Ben fired me in March. Well, he would say management fired me. But firing me wasn't enough. He wanted to make sure my reputation and livelihood was also destroyed. Of course, what happened thereafter is Charlie Kirk instantly came out and supported me, because we were like brother and sister, always supporting each other publicly. And then I showed you guys a few episodes ago that we found out as I was going to speak in Dallas at their YWLS convention that Ben had sent an intern who was going to ask me a question while I was on stage, but we sort of rumbled this plan, and I called Ben out on stage. Ben did not like that I called him out on stage, so he began working behind the scenes to have Jewish donors start threatening Charlie to make sure that I wasn't invited to speak at year-end because I was an anti-Semite. This is what Charlie told me. And instead, he wanted to be invited. So he's just going to purchase a friendship, right? So he comes at Turning Point USA, and this is what was divulged to me from Andrew Colvett at the time, willing to spend an offensive amount of money to be a part of AmFest. Like I said, that was told to me by Andrew Colvett directly, because he wanted to say, look, like, obviously, you know, we are totally, Charlie's 100% on your side. This is like an offensive ad spend. I was like, take his money. I could care less, obviously. And I knew that he was working with Barry Weiss to call and put an article out saying that the donors, the people on the board of TPUSA want Candace gone. All of this petty behind the scenes behavior because I called him out on stage. Okay. So quite literally, this is the definition of buying friends and influence and fame. Now, in case you're listening and thinking, is Ben Shapiro actually capable of that level of pettiness? I'm going to tell you a story about Thomas Sowell. Yes, Dr. Thomas Sowell of Stanford. The story begins in 2023, shortly after October 7th. You know, Ben was sort of having another one of his open nervous breakdowns, and his audience just went kaput. People just stopped watching his podcast because he was screaming at Americans that we needed to prioritize Israel, and people just didn't feel that way. Okay, it's not our country. I'm sorry that happened to you, but why do Americans need to be screamed at about what's happening in the Middle East? Anyways, throughout this time, Brian Mast was wearing an IDF uniform in Congress, and he basically said that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian life. And when I saw this, as shared by Yashar Ali on X, Ben, he then had some private event, probably at another Jewish donor's house, and somebody caught him standing on a table insulting me over my genocide is always wrong tweet. Take a listen to what Ben had to say.
And then the question was about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt. I can't close that. Yeah, I mean, she still works for my company. I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
Disreputable, disgraceful. She works at my company. You can imagine that the internet went crazy because they wanted me to respond to him. I can't believe this. They work together. They're colleagues. Somehow this gets leaked. And I want to mention, because it's very relevant, that was on the morning of November 14th. I was 6 days away from giving birth. I was very heavily pregnant. Anyways, I wake up to this, and shockingly, nobody from the Daily Wire steps in to manage the situation. And as you can imagine, virtually every journalist, every person with a media platform was contacting me to comment, to respond to me being insulted by someone. I'm about to give birth. I'm being insulted, and they're not getting anything from the Daily Wire. So I am obviously frustrated. You should also tell you, I had no PR at this time. My PR was the internal PR at the Daily Wire. And it was very clear that their focus was on protecting Ben, even though he was the one who insulted me publicly, because I said that genocide is always wrong. That is the genesis of that statement. That's all I said. Obviously, I wanted to respond angrily to the press. I wanted to hit back at Ben. And I guess you could sort of say my perspective was an eye for an eye, but my husband, who is a better person than me, instructed me that morning to instead take a deep breath, relax, okay? Don't think about what you're feeling in the moment. Think about how you're going to feel in the future. And he instructed me to instead read the Bible, the Sermon on the Mount. And I read through it, and he reminds me that everybody who wants to comment, they don't care about me either, right? They're selling.
I don't know, but I know. That is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying, what is happening? Why is he on this stage? Standing against everything that Charlie believed in. So that's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. I look at you and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Berith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them for years. You fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us.
Now, what's very interesting about this is, I had said this before, that her whole grift with this whole Charlie Kirk conspiracy, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of this because Charlie Kirk was my best friend. And I said there's more to it than that. You know what I'm saying? There's a money aspect to it. The countless amount of money that she's been making off of YouTube, Spotify, Apple, social media platforms, plus people, her donors and everything else, people sending money to her. She's made millions off of this whole pushing this conspiracy. And I said I feel like it is because there are some financial issues going on behind the scenes. She's dealing with the lawsuit from the French government, but is she saying here that Ben Shapiro is also constantly suing her? And regardless if these are legitimate lawsuits or frivolous lawsuits, it still costs money to have to deal with lawsuits. And a lot of people will file frivolous lawsuits just to try and bury you financially. And who knows if her husband is really wanting to help out, if he, wants to be bothered with this, or if this is, her own situation, so she has to figure it out with using her own money. But I definitely believe that that is also playing a part into why she keeps toting this conspiracy and why she's still trying to dig into the thick of it, is because she's also being hit with lawsuits by Ben Shapiro. Another thing I find very interesting is she's saying that Ben Shapiro is racist. He doesn't like white men and he does not like black people. He thinks that black people are beneath them, they should be sued, they should be slaves, and whatever else she was saying. Well, my thing is, when did you come to this realization? Because you were on his platform for years. 4 years. And he loved when you were punching down on your own. But then once you guys fell off, now you want to expose him as being a racist. So to me, that comes off as very disingenuous, because I think you knew deep down inside that he had a particular vendetta. He did not like black people. He made his whole platform on talking down to the black community, but you didn't care because you were trying to elevate yourself. You were willing to sign a deal with the devil in order to make yourself bigger, and now those chickens are coming home to roost. So to me, Candace is not a victim in all of this either. So let's finish listening to what else she has to say.
That they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. The question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature. He's one of these belly creatures, sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant? It's an open-ended question. Of course, what followed Ben Shapiro.
All right, so y'all just heard her rant. She went in, but like I said, to me, she's no victim, because I can find old clips of when, she's saying things about the black community and affirmative action, and Ben is playing it on her show, and he's enjoying it. He's loving it. They loved using Candace as their talking point. She was supposed to be the I have black friends too token. And now that those tokens are spent, you're seeing the fracture in the right. You're seeing all these people pointing fingers at each other, but they're all one and the same.
I'm of mixed background. What am I supposed to mark on an application? Am I supposed to mark multiple boxes as an saying that you're oppressed?
Well, it's the truth, because you believe in affirmative action. So I said mark black. I have a son that's half white and a son that's half black and a daughter that's half white and half black. They're going to mark black, because I know that there are people like you at the universities who will say, well, because this person is black, I'm just going to let them in. It's just racism if you're judging people on the basis of their skin color.
That's Candace at her best right there. That is solid stuff.
You see that? He's agreeing with everything she says. That's Candace at her best right there. That's solid stuff. But once Candace started questioning his community, he had the little town hall meeting at somebody's home and was saying that she was disrespectful for speaking against Israel. He was going in on her. But he loved it any time she was punching down on her own community. And that is where Candace Owens has to take responsibility for a lot of the bullshit that she helped to spew and she helped to spiral and uplift and give a platform to on the Daily Wire. So like I said, to me, it looks like the chickens are coming home to roost for all these folks. What do you guys feel about what Ben Shapiro had to say about all the parties involved at Turning Point USA? How do you guys feel about Megyn Kelly's response? How do you feel about Candace Owens' response? And also Steve Bannon jumping in there and calling out, you know, Israel and calling out Ben Shapiro as well. I look forward to reading y'all's comments down below. Please hit this video with a like. Feel free to share the video. And I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.